Hey, it's Eric with HoosierCycles. I've got a 80 something, early 80s. This is a, you might recognize it more as a Super Thunder 26-inch wheeled Huffy built bike, but this one is actually by Raceline, and it was, I don't know how Shucks got into Shucks was a automotive part supplier in the Northwest, Western. They were down in California, Oregon, and Seattle area, Washington, and they were bought out by O'Reilly's, I think, in 2008. They were pretty much all gone. But Shucks, like Western Flyers, Western Auto Parts, they had bikes in their stores, and this is one of them that was sold here locally. It's actually got a tag right there that says Seattle, Washington, Shucks. And this is called a Raceline, and it's the Rainier, but it's a actual Super Thunder Huffy. That's who built these. So I've had one of these. The Colorado Huffy was the exact same bike. It's a 10-speed mountain bike style. Same components on it. They had this finish line grip on it, and MX style fork. You can see that. Get that up higher. MX style fork. Just a big, heavy, high tensile frames, steel frame. It's nothing special, but they're kind of unique. This one's pretty hammered, and if you recognize the crank on this is the exact same crank that the Huffy Pro Thunder, the 2-speed one that had the front derailleur, and they just had a little bit of tensioner on the back. This is the exact same crank you would have found on that smaller bike, that 20-inch 2-speed. They had a little shifter at the top there. So I got some plans for this. We're just going to blow it apart and kind of just make it a BMX Cruiser, what it was as a Super Thunder. But I'm going to keep the decals on it. I'm not going to make it an imposter or anything of that nature. Okay, so that's what the build's going to be. Take this this Huffy built bike, which is a Raceline competition certified. So I don't know how many of these made it to the BMX track as a 26 Cruiser. It'd be kind of funny if somebody had any comments on it. Let's get a close look at this Shucks Huffy built. Well, I'm going to get ready to strip this Raceline and turn it into a single-speed BMX bike. All right, so let's get started with just going to retain the fork frame. We're going to keep the headset for now, and the bars and the stem. That's it. All right, so there it is, all stripped, and now ready for our next phase of cleaning it up and then repacking some bearings and making it a BMX. Hey, good morning. I've got this Raceline that I've got ready to put back together, but I've been dealing with some other stuff here. You know, when you're a homeowner, you've got to take care of your house too, not just bikes. So I've got bees up here. So I got my contraption rigged up here so you can hear me over the vacuum, but they're flying in pretty good. I thought they were just in the soffit, you know, the gap between the overhang, but no, they're up underneath my house in the overhead. So I'm vacuuming out and being humane. I don't know if it's real humane, but I'm not using chemicals, and this has been effective in past. So they're flying in there. There's not as many as before. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to try putting this bike together. So the Raceline, you know, it's a Huffy built bike. Let me get my camera set up here. My phone. I'm not that sophisticated with some high-end camera. I did get my garage kind of cleaned up for the winter. So I want to put my car back in here. Kind of put a hold on some bikes. But that Raceline, which is actually a Huffy, I believe it's what I've had in the past was a Huffy Colorado 10-speed mountain bike inspired. Had the same exact components on it. This double bolt stem, or the double clamp stem, kind of inspired by probably Redline. It's kind of got a wicked angle to it, but it's not heavy duty. This bike is not heavy duty by any means. I found a crossbar for it, so I retained the same bars and the stem because they're kind of nostalgic to this bike. And it's the same one I think the Pro Thunder, the kids bike, the 20-inch used. I'm also going to use a conversion and put a 3-piece crank in it. This is an old Japanese built, and I'm using this is a 68 shell, and then I think it's a 122, but it works perfectly. This covers most BMX bikes on American bottom brackets if you want to do a 3-piece. Just you got to worry about the offset. You know, this offset here, this one's pretty shallow. It's not like a, you know, if you try using a three chain ring style, probably would not work. It wouldn't be deep enough for this guy. I've got some old pedals here. I'm not sure where these came from. I had them cleaned up for another project, but I didn't end up using them. So I use these guys, old, and the same grips that came off of it. These are called finish lines. And the fork, this is a really cheesy, the dropouts are so thin, and this is where, if you get some of these old Pro Thunders, Huffies, you'll see a crack develop right here and on this area here. So they'll crack right along that seam and right here because they're so thin. The dropouts are thin, and I don't know how this they have a sticker on it that says track certified. I don't see it. You know, it's just probably a high 10 steel, but those dropouts are so thin. Same with the rear dropouts are really thin on this guy too. The wheel set, these came off a 83 or 84 Sakai mountain bike, but the front hub is an SR, and I just repacked it and check the trueness of it. I'm only running one brake on this since it is a track certified. You know, BMX racers, they don't run a front brake, so I'll just run a rear brake. The rear is actually a Shimano. I haven't seen too many high flange Shimanos run across them. Usually they're SRs or Joytex or something of that nature. This is again the Sakai, came off the same match set. Just redished it and repacked the bearings, but they are Arrayas. The rim set's Arraya. You see a tag there. I bet these are the 7Xs. So nice wheels. Spokes are a little toasty, but I cleaned them up best as possible. And I'm ready to throw this thing together. Okay, so I'm going to put this three-piece conversion bottom bracket, three-piece bottom bracket conversion. So I'm using the Sunlight. I bought this, I think, through Pork Chop. This is a 68 shell, and then it's a 122 length. So on the right side, you're just going to take the cone here and jam it all the way down. So it'll be, actually it'll look shorter because the adjustment is on this side, the left side. So just like a regular one-piece crank, you know, you'll tighten down the cone against the chain ring, and then you'll just, you know, slip it in from the right side, and then all your adjustments on the left. Just same as the conversion. So it's just going to go in just like that. And you have another adjusting cone on the right or the left side. It's going to have a lock washer inside it right here, which is going to have a spline right there. You can see it. I'm sure you can see that. Just going to slide on there. That keeps that outer lock nut from spinning your inner. That's just how it's set up. Real simple. And this one's a square. It's not tapered, it's square, according to them, the box. And my crank, if I can tell, it is square, so it should work pretty good. Some of these are tapered, you'll see it, but this one's square. I'm pretty sure this one's a square. It won't say on here, your crank, but you just have to test fit it and see. You'll get some wobbling if it's not. I like these Sunlight conversions because of instead of having the stud on them, this has got a nut on the outside that holds the crank arm. So you don't have this, sometimes you don't have the space. If the stud sticks out real far, then you can't put a nice cap on there. So I don't mind these. These are nice. The Sunlight ones are actually pretty good quality. Get some grease on there. I've already put the new, they call them cone hangers. I don't know why. But I just consider them the cones, the bottom bracket cones. So this is all new stuff in here. Ever packed bearings before? I just like to run the grease inside here. Get the cage full. It's the messy part of bikes, grease. Get that cage full, then it's holding that grease in there. Then you can kind of dress this outside. You can run around a little bit. Put Put some more on there. I'm just using the heavy duty grease. I don't buy the heavy part stuff or the waterproof. I just recently picked up some grease, I think, from the local hardware store that actually looks pretty good too. Just going to set this one aside while I do my other side. Maybe a low friction grease would be better, but I'm not trying to set a speed record with my bikes. I just want to make sure the bearings don't fail. I'm sure you high-end bike guys won't agree. All right. Run that around a little bit. I used to do automotive work, so for a living. This is heavy duty automotive grease. If it's good enough for wheel bearings on a car, I think it's fine for a simple bicycle. Maybe a little too heavy, but that could be underkill. Let's dress this up a little bit. Not running dry. And no different than any other bearings when you're setting the preload and all that stuff. You just want it tight and don't want it to move, and no play. This set also has like a grease seal on the outside, which is nice. It's not waterproof, but it does keep some dust out. You've got all kinds of cavity, holes that can get water inside here. This bottom bracket shell from the frame, it's actually got a hole right there, if you can see that right there. So we'll probably put a little RTV on that to keep the water out of there. I'm not sure what that was for. It could have been for a, I don't think a chain guard, but it could have been for a bracket for something. Could have been for a chain guard, possibly. Line that slot up. That'll just slip right into right there. So that's flush now. Just got a little bit of rice. That keeps that outer lock nut from turning the inner one. Get this started. There we go. It's all reverse thread. Now, there's not a lot of room around here, so I'm probably going to hold the crank on this side. So that nut doesn't fall off. Let's put a nut on here. So I can tighten this up. Now this is a, let's see what size this would be. It's a 30. It's a 30. These are thin enough that I can get a wrench on the outside there and tighten that. I'm not going to go look for my 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and just use an adjustable. Let's see if we can grab this. It's getting tight. I'm going to back this down just a little bit. Backing it into the jam nut. See what kind of play we have. We don't. See if we got that a little tighter. Feels pretty good. Give it a little more torque. Try it to slip off. Now that should be tight. That's good. All right. This is our left side. So we'll move this arm back over. See, the clearance we have is pretty good here. Get that down a little bit. Once we tighten it up. All right. Got plenty for the chain ring here. On the chain stay, the lower chain stay, and plenty here. So pretty even. Little grease on the threads here. Take this one back off. I don't think I got grease on this one. Should do it. Just if you ever got to take it apart, it's on there for a while. These are 14 millimeter, these nuts. Pretty close there. Should be okay though. Got more clearance on this side. A little tight here. I think we'll be okay though. I've had worse. So, got a crank on. A little high end for this bike for sure, but it's a correct period. It's a 80s crank, this one. Let's move on to the fork. I already put my seat post in. I found this old style clamp on. I'm using that. This brake back here is called a Big Dog by Diacomp. So a newer style. I think it's just redesigned. You know, it's a caliper style, but the leverage is a little bit probably superior than the older ones, the way the arms are set up. So I just had a single one. I figured it was appropriate for this bike. It looks pretty good. Get some bearings in the front. The fork here. So I'm just going with the standard Huffy style headset that came with it, because these are so odd, these head tubes. You never can find anything that fits it perfectly. So the headset bearings are Hartford Technology, again, bearings, the same ones I pulled out of that Coast King. See these quite often in the old Huffies. Still good. They got the stamp on the cage here. Just the cones, you know, are not like the heaviest quality. Grease this bottom up real quick. These bikes just were not meant to last, in my opinion. Wasn't like the Schwinn quality for sure. Though the bearings are good quality. Just the other components around them. If you look at a headset on a Schwinn, it's just built so much heavier. But these filled a gap in, you know, price point for people that could afford something like this opposed to a Schwinn. We priced them out. Not everybody could afford a 26 cruiser frame torquer, or what else was being produced at that time. This was an 80, I believe, this bike. So whatever the 26 cruisers were then. Lagunas, King Stings. Torquers, Redline, I think had a 26 at the time. Maybe not 26 then. But remember, this was a 10-speed bike too. So, using that rear dropout. I'll go ahead and tighten that up here in a minute. popped, didn't it? Something seated. The bearing wasn't seated. So we got a fork now. Something pretty cool, unusual on this derailleur I took off this. So you see the rear dropout here. You know, it's a horizontal and it's facing rear just like a BMX bike. But the derailleur that came on it, the dropout is facing to the rear. Now, that's unusual on a geared bike. I haven't seen too many rear facing dropouts because that's, you know, this is facing forward. But that hanger, and this is fixed, it's not, it's riveted on. So kind of unusual to find something like that. I think the Huffy Colorado I picked up, I'll show a picture of that now. And I converted that one to a BMX bike. That, I don't believe that derailleur, I think it was facing forward like that. They had slid it in and pushed it forward. Or it had a different hanger, you know, removable. I don't know, maybe it did have this on there. I'll have to look at the pictures a little closer. But that's unusual to find a hanger that way. All right, the build continues. I'm gonna put the stem back on, so we're using an original double clamp stem, or kind of a knockoff look of the old Redline style. Same bars, and I just found this cross member, went and installed it. And I've got this old Diacomp. I'm not sure what style that is. Got that funky, like a two-finger grab down here. I think a race inspired. So I had a single one in the right-hand side, so I'm going to use that. But I want to get this rear brake set, so I'm going to go ahead and get this greased up here, so it's easier to take out in the future. And we'll get this swung over here. Drop her down. Pretty thin clamp here, but it's a neat looking one. You guys point it over here. We'll square it up here after we get everything set. That's just to hold it in place. Now I got that put there. This rear brake, this is that Bulldog Big Dog, or you know, it's a Diacomp Big Dog they call it. I thought I wasn't going to have the clearance on here. I'm running the original tires that came on this. I can't say if they're the original, but they look pretty similar, like a snake belly knockoff looking thing. They're a 2125, so big tire. Never had one of these brakes before. Looks like it's got some clamping power. That's what I wanted. Got these kind of big. I don't have the rear. I should set that chain first, huh? I just put a chain together. It's probably a takeoff chain that I got off a BMX bike, but a good quality. It's a big heavy chain. I think it's a KMC. I already cut the length of it. These have a pretty long rear triangle back here. This frame I'm talking about, this frame is actually a 23 top tube. They're long. It's only probably 15. What do you think? Yeah, 15, 14 and a half, kind of like a modern one. But this is what's crazy. It's actually almost 24 if you go center. That's how I've always been taught to measure. Center of head tube, center of seat tube, that's 24 inches. And this long triangle, that's almost 18 right there. That's long. 18 to the axle here. Push it. Yeah, this thing's a little rusty. We'll have to get that loosened up. I got a link right here that's really tight. I'm just going to bust this one loose, move it a little. These two right here. We'll see how they do rotating once. Plenty of tension. Yeah, the clearance is going to be tight on that brake, but I think it'll work. I've got a couple of links that are pretty tight, so we'll hear them pop right there. They should loosen up. That's the brake grinding. Yeah, there's like very little movement. I'm gonna make this brake work though. It's all extended down. Probably go with my MX 1000, but I'm gonna make this one work. This left side is like barely grabbing the top of the wheel. Might not have clearance. Might be forced to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the brake out. The right side has no problem. It's this left side, and I don't know if there's any adjustment. I don't think there is. Unless I elongated this brake bridge down. And I don't feel like doing that. I just want to keep this pretty simple. So we're just going to have to swap this brake out. So we're going with this Lychee Pro Max knockoff. Well, it looks like a Diacomp Bullfrog, but it's the, or Bulldog. Is it a Bulldog? I think it's a Bulldog. But it's a T-Rex by Lychee. And it's got the reach and the clearance we need for this big fat rear wheel tire. And I can use the factory location, not have to modify. Brake bridge here. That'll be just as well. And the pads hit a lot better too. Barely grabs on this top part here for some reason. the wheel centered pretty well. Just doesn't like this left side. It's not hitting the tire, but it's close. Should be good. We'll go with it. Could take a link out of the chain and move it forward. Probably give me some more room. But I think we're just going to keep it there. Call it good. Alright. Let's find our cable. Alright. I just stole the shifter cable for the brake housing. Shifter cable housing for the brake. And put a new cable in it. Let that stretch out a little bit. And we'll find something to fix this to the frame. Some of the viewers don't like my wire ties. They're not much different from what the black plastic retainers. But I've got a couple of those retainers in here. I can use them. There's one right here. Oh, this is a bigger tube frame. No, it isn't. Same. It's a little bigger than the standard. Maybe this is a certified. It's got big tubes. I don't know. We'll see. Gonna have to go with the wire ties. It's a Huffy, guys. Come on now. It is a race line, though. Huffy. May have cut that a little long, but that's okay. Got turning clearance. Looks fine. Alright, got a brake on there. Oh, hopping that wheel too. A tight link in the chain, hopping the wheel. Perfect. Okay, front wheel, turn this upside down, clearance in here. Now the front fork, I had to clearance the dropouts to accept the bigger axle because this was just a punny little 1/2 inch. These are 3/8. So I just use a file, open the fork up a little bit, the dropouts. Not run a front brake, because this is for racing. I've got the kind of a shorter BMX inspired seat like that. I've got an old, forgot which one this is, BMX plastic, even has BMX on it. I like this one. And I've got this Dominator that I've had for a little bit. This is more of a mid school, I think. It could, I guess you could consider this old too, but this is definitely old. This is like the old, I think a Countach or something like that. Let me see what Vesco, or I don't think it's got anything stamped in it. It's pretty toasty. I think this is appropriate. It's even got a clamp in there. I think I'm going to reverse it though. That looks good. I think we'll go with that one. Yep. Put the clamp underneath. And I got to put some grips on it. And kind of straighten everything out here. Throw the pedals on. Yeah, we got some grips to go on still. No pedals. These are no names. No, they're VP 456 VPs. They used to be black, and the dice is faded on them. But they cleaned up real nice, threads wise. And I re-tapped the crank arms. And I'm going with these factory grips on here. They're called Finish Line. We'll get those bars adjusted. Get that brake lever adjusted. I've got to tighten this up here, this cross member too. Kind of square it up a little bit. Looks pretty good. Okay, I think our build's done. We'll go ride this thing here. Just got to put some caps on the cranks here. Alright, we got the Raceline competition certified Rainier model. Got the tag right there. It says Shuck, Seattle, Washington. The head tube is a PT performance tested Shucks. This is a 26 inch. Started out as a kind of a 10-speed mountain bike looking thing. I believe these are the same frames they used on the Super Thunder Huffy, because I know this is a Huffy build or built. The little drop out here has got a number on it. It says 2080. I'm sure that's a 20th week of 80. The components that came off are definitely 80. And this matches that Huffy, Colorado that I had. I think I posted some pictures of it. And actually built one of these similar to it early on when I was doing bikes. I did the three-piece conversion. I put the American body bracket conversion in there. And this is an old 80s Ultra Dyno, the Japanese 170 arm. Just kind of a cheap origin. It's a 42 tooth, and I've got an 18 freewheel on the back. This is a Shimano high flange freewheel hub. Rio 7X's. And this is a front SR, dated 84, but this came off an 83 Sakai, so probably an 84 Sakai mountain bike. The wheel set did. Bars are original. Just put that little cross piece on there. Stem's original, headset's original. Seat post is original, and I just swapped out a saddle there, seat post. And I use an old Pro Max mid-school looking T-Rex. Looks like the Bulldog Shimano's knockoff. Definitely have some braking issues. The pads are pretty dry, so I have to swap those out. Old Diacomp. I don't know what model this is. Definitely have to stand up and grab it pretty hard. MX style fork on it. Really small dropouts. Hey, it turned out good though. So thanks for tuning in. This is Eric with Hoosier Cycles. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you are, thank you. And we'll check you on the next build.